Ferguson II. He was a towering figure in American legal history. Born in 1942 in Asheville, he rose from humble beginnings to become a nationally respected attorney and civil rights advocate. His services will be held today at 12.
A Union County family has filed a second lawsuit against American Airlines after a former employee was sent to prison on sex charges. They say Estes Thompson secretly filmed their daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, while she was in the airplane bathroom. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison on those charges. Another family previously sued the airline and reached a settlement.
It's official. The 1-cent sales tax for transit projects will be on the ballot in Mecklenburg County, despite some big names speaking against it, including former Mayor Jennifer Roberts. The County Board of Commissioners voted to send it through after more than 3 hours of public comment. If passed, the funds will go towards road improvements and expanding the light rail and bus services.
All right, whether you're waking up, heading off to work, or getting those kids ready for the school day, area roadways are looking all right, much drier compared to the last few days. Few accidents to let you know about, though. 2 right here on Albemarle Road. You can see all that red starting to back up. It's there and west at Central Ave. In addition to that, another one here, Albemarle Road at Dooley Drive. So stay safe and have a nice day. Chris.
Duly noted. We have temperatures on the rise after today. 77, trying to get rid of the cloud cover. It's not going to happen right away, but then all of a sudden, some of us are going to say, what is that? Sunshine upon us? Then back to the 80s, much brighter by tomorrow and this weekend.
All right, Chris, thanks. A reminder, the news does not end here. Coming up at 7 a.m. over on WCNC Plus, technical issues causing headaches for flyers, where things stand this morning at Charlotte Douglas, plus what we know about the investigation into a shooting on a U.S. military base, and an update on nationwide flooding as things are expected to dry out today.
It starts in just a few minutes at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. We'll see you there.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Megan Bragan for Lisa Washington. She has the day off. A live look over the city this morning, and it looks like a much better day than yesterday. This is looking at those roadways. Not a lot of rain on the ground, which is always good to see. Chris Mulcahy has the weather impact forecast for us this morning. Good morning, Chris.
Thank goodness. We've had back-to-back mornings of widespread rain. One day there was an absolute deluge. Now we're just dealing with still below normal highs and below normal lows, and we're still waiting on the sunshine. 66 degrees right now in Charlotte, 64 degrees around Gastonia. Areas really west of 321 up in the mountains and the foothills, you have the best chance of seeing some sun. And then by the end of the day, Charlotte's having a better chance. The least likely chance is for you in Wadesboro, Rockingham, and Chirac, but we're starting to break up this wedge, this cold air damming. You know, I always love to get a stat for you, and this one is through 6 days of August, that this is actually the fourth wettest first 6 days of August in Charlotte history. And of course, that dates back 146 years of record keeping. So there's your weather IQ stat for the day. Our weather impacts, well, we're drying out. We're not going to see the sunshine right away, but it will get brighter. It's one of those deals that I think you have a brighter overcast sky, and then eventually we will see some spots of blue really start to develop by the end of the day. And if you do not see the sunshine, because not everyone will today, tomorrow is the day, because drier conditions start to work into the weekend, and that starts on Friday. Because Friday, I only have a spotty rain chance and an isolated chance by this weekend. Isolated means 20%, so most of the time means you're going to stay dry. Once you get up to scatter criteria to likely, that's where you can anticipate more widespread rain. And our futurecast also showing a chance for isolated storm or shower today. There's the outside chance that you do see one storm, maybe some heavier rain, and the real hot spot as far as rain showers go a little bit further off towards the east over here in Albemarle over to Wadesboro and Rockingham. By the late afternoon, still a chance for an isolated shower. Don't want people to be caught off guard. Say go into the soccer game, it could rain briefly, and temperatures rock in the lower 70s at that point. But when you see the darker shading here, that's representing that, hey, the clouds are breaking up, so that's good news. But that's why I mentioned you're still seeing a lot of white down to the southeast, why it's likely going to stay cloudier the further east that you go. Now, by Friday morning, the clouds are back. What's happening is I think you have more mist, some areas of drizzle, and a few sprinkles, along with some patchy dense fog. And fog literally is just a ground cloud, and when that rises up or it hasn't quite dropped down, you have a low deck of stratus, and that prevents the sunshine. We've been dealing a lot with that over the last couple of days, but by your Friday afternoon, we got sunshine, and then eventually it's going to start to feel back to where we should be. How you feel forecast, still sticky today, uncomfortable Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday, we got that muggy air upon us. So today, your highs right around 77. This, by the way, will be the coolest high that we have over the next 7 days. Still having a real feel up to 80 degrees as we're raising that moisture content. Our lows drop down to the mid 60s once again, and then we start to warm those up as well heading through this week. So let's get right to your 7-day forecast. For the extended forecast, for one, you have the Charlotte FC match today, so that's not going to be too bad. Slight chance for isolated shower. I think absolutely we're staying dry for the Panthers preseason opener. That's at 7 o'clock. And then for this weekend, I think most of your Saturday stays dry. Better chance for rain late day on Sunday. But then what do you know? We should be around 90 degrees this time of the year. We're back to 89, 90 next Wednesday and next Thursday. So if you've been wanting and yearning for the summertime air to return, well, we are almost there. We can finally see it on the 7-day forecast. Majestic, let's go.
Forward to it. It's going to be nice, warmer temperatures, sunny skies. I think most of us will at least look forward to seeing the sunshine return. If you are heading out the door this morning, this is I-77 out towards LaSalle Street. We do have a crash that's slowing traffic down just a bit. It is actually moving. This is just a still shot there. Few things though, as we're breaking down my map, I want to take you straight to that accident because we are starting to see those backups. Again, this will be impacting I-77 southbound, specifically between exits 12 and exits 13. Doesn't seem like it's blocked at this point. It'll just delay you about 5 to 10 minutes this morning. In addition to that, we have a new crash on the plaza out towards Plaza Midwood. It's on Plaza and Margaret Ave, so make sure you're just careful there. And then out towards Albemarle, we have two ongoing wrecks. The first one is on Albemarle and West Central Ave. You can see those colors there indicating that there are some slowdowns. And then the second one is right here on Albemarle Road and Dooley Drive, mainly green, so not too concerned there. there. Make sure you're driving safe this morning. I-85 starting to see some of those slowdowns as more people are all heading in the same direction. Thankfully, no accidents to report there. And hey, if you're coming in from I-77, Rock Hill, out towards Fort Mill, things seem to be running all right. We'll give you another update. I'll let you know if things change next time I see you right back here in just a few.
Happening today, the city of Charlotte will gather to remember a local icon in the fight for civil rights.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live this morning here on WCNC Plus as the community prepares to celebrate the life and legacy of James Ferguson. Richard.
Yeah, to a lot of folks who knew him, Fergie, as he was known by those friends and people, but this community in Charlotte also paying honor to him. He's been immortalized in things like this mural behind me by Abel, alongside his partner, Julius Chambers. Today, there'll be a celebration of life for him just up the road at the Park Church. All of this today as family and friends and civil rights leaders will gather to honor the life and legacy of James E. Ferguson II. He was a towering figure in American legal history. Ferguson was born in 1942 in Asheville. He rose from humble beginnings to become a nationally respected attorney, as well as a civil rights advocate. He co-founded North Carolina's first integrated law firm and led the defense in the historic Wilmington 10 case, a fight that ultimately led to pardons decades later. Ferguson's commitment to justice stretched far beyond the courtroom, from training black lawyers during apartheid in South Africa to championing restorative justice efforts here in North Carolina. He and his wife, Barbara, shared nearly 56 years of marriage together and a life rooted in social justice as well as this community. Ferguson is remembered not only for his legal brilliance, but for his unwavering dedication to equity, dignity, as well as change.
He has impacted the legal profession not only in providing mentorship and training to younger lawyers in the community and across the world, really. The work, the substantive work that he has done has affected people who are going through the criminal justice system.
Yeah, and Mel Watt also said that what he did outside of the courtroom was just as important as what he did inside the courtroom and what he stood for. That service will begin today, starting with a visitation at 11 o'clock at the Park Church. The funeral, or the celebration of life, I should say, starts at 12. We're right here in West Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Going to be a long list of legends there. Richard, share with us your firsthand experience with Ferguson.
Yeah, just somebody who was always approachable, someone you could always come to and ask a question, whether it was about an event or a colleague, as I remember speaking to him about his partner, Julius Chambers, or something that was going on in the community. As you know, he also was once the owner of the Excelsior Club, a place where people would come and enjoy one of the longest clubs, or the oldest clubs here in the Southeast. And it was type of person that I would say everyone liked. If you came across him and you spoke to him, he was just a very likable person, someone who was also very serious, but a good person, and it shone through by the way he treated people, especially those folks who just regular folks, including young at the time reporters.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And it stays with you forever. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us. Richard, thank you.
Yeah, it does.
Appreciate it. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We are back in 2 minutes. 7:11 right now on WCNC Plus. This morning, a Union County family taking American Airlines to court. They filed a second lawsuit tied to a former employee who's now in prison on sex charges.
The family claims this man, former flight attendant Estes Thompson, secretly filmed their 11-year-old daughter in the airplane bathroom. Estes is already serving an 18-year sentence for child exploitation after he was caught recording a young girl on a flight to Charlotte back in 2023. This is video of what that phone looked like in the plane bathroom. That family also sued American Airlines and reached an undisclosed settlement.
United Airlines flights mostly back to normal this morning after a technology issue prompted ground stops at several major airports overnight. It's still unclear exactly what the technology issue was or what caused it. United says some delays are expected throughout the morning as they get back on track. We checked just a few minutes ago at Charlotte Douglas, and right now it's reporting 3 canceled United flights and just 1 delay. And we can tell you in the last hour we've confirmed that that incident, that glitch, has nothing to do with why passengers were stuck on a plane for hours after landing at Charlotte Douglas last night. In a statement, airport officials say they conducted a routine system upgrade, but an unexpected issue locked doors down and jet bridges throughout the terminal. The glitch left some passengers stuck on the plane for hours after landing. One person tells us the pilot even had to call police. In the last hour, we've confirmed that was not related to the airline's glitch at United.
An update this morning on that mass shooting at Fort Stewart Army Base in Georgia. We're learning the 5 people injured are all expected to be okay. Authorities say 28-year-old Army Sergeant Cornelius Radford shot at several people he worked with using a personal handgun. Now investigators are trying to figure out how Radford was able to get the gun on the base.
I'm very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective equipment. This one's a bit difficult, and we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place of duty.
Officials say Sergeant Radford has never been deployed to combat or had any known disciplinary issues on the base. However, he was charged with driving under the influence off the base back in May.
All right, taking a live look right now at U.S. futures market as markets worldwide react to President Trump's tariffs that are now in effect. Everything there on the green on the right, looking good. All right, with the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P all in green with about 2 hours before the market opens. Here's NBC's Jay Gray.
Apple is announcing that it will
in an Oval Office meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, touting the company's promise to invest $600 billion in U.S. manufacturing over the next 4 years. President Trump announces a new tariff on semiconductors and chips with one caveat.
So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff.
Specifics, including when the tech tariffs will take place and exactly how U.S. manufacturers will qualify for an exemption, still aren't clear. What is clear, though, is the president's frustration with India.
They're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then I'm not going to be happy.
Raising the country's tariff from 25% to 50% just hours before the plan goes online as a punishment for buying oil from Russia. Announcing that decision, as Special Envoy Steve Witkoff meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow ahead of a Friday deadline for increased U.S. economic sanctions if there's no ceasefire with Ukraine. The president on social media calling the meeting highly productive and writing, "Great progress was made," suggesting that there may now be a path to face-to-face meetings with Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky.
That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
A White House official telling NBC News there's no set plan or location, but that the meeting could take place as early as next week. Now, it's important to remember there have been previous rumors of a summit, even the president acknowledging how tenuous this situation is, saying, quote, "I've been disappointed before with this one." Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
Approaching 7:16 right now. We're back here in 2 minutes on WCNC Plus. 7:18 right now on WCNC Plus. And just in that commercial break, getting some new information into our newsroom. At least one person dead after a homicide in Northwest Charlotte. It happened on Reindeer Way Lane. That's right off Mount Holly Huntersville Road and 485. We do have a crew on the way to the scene even as we speak. We'll have much more on this breaking story throughout the morning right here on WCNC Plus.
2 people are dead this morning after being swept away by floodwaters in eastern North Carolina. The Nash County Sheriff's Office says it happened just north of Highway 581. They say the car was swept off the road into a ravine that was overflowing with fast-moving water. The man and woman were able to get out of the car, but that's when they were swept away by the waters. One police officer on scene described what happened as he tried to take them and save them.
I thought that I could make a difference, so I ran and dove in, tried to grab her. The water was moving extremely fast. It was deep, it was over my head, and I never got to her. Once she went under, I never saw her again.
Man and woman were both found dead several hours later.
Well, this morning we are getting a first-hand look at some dangerous water rescue that nearly killed a Maryland family. The video serves as an important reminder of how fast things can go from bad to worse when dealing with flash flooding. Jackie Benson reports.
I'm gonna have to shut this road down.
These are images from body-worn cameras as Montgomery County Police Corporal Megan Wyatt came upon a nightmare scene on Bradley Boulevard. She was quickly joined by Officer Chris Aversa and Sergeant Gary Gard. Also present, a man who was called there by his panicked wife, who was calling from inside the submerged car with their 2-year-old boy and a boy for whom she's a nanny. The husband had her on speaker. The officers knew the Montgomery County Fire Department was close. They also knew seconds could mean life or death.
I have a rope. Will that work?
Corporal Wyatt and Officer Aversa entered the water. It was filled with debris and tree limbs and rushing with such force that each step became a struggle to stay upright. If they went down, they too would be swept away.
As soon as I got there, Corporal Wyatt was like, "We're going in." I said, "Okay, well, you're not going alone."
They kept going because they could hear what was coming from the father's phone.
Yeah, they were screaming for help when I first showed up, and once that car got taken down the ravine, the screaming stopped. So obviously the worst thing crossed my mind. But then as we were yelling over the PA system, the screaming started up again.
Just as the officers realized there wasn't enough rope to get to the SUV, the sight they desperately needed to see appeared: Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. This image shows what it looked like when they arrived. The SUV was now off the road, completely submerged by rushing floodwaters. You can just make out a boy sitting on the roof of the vehicle. Using a pole to measure the depth of the water, fire and rescue personnel made their way to the vehicle and got all 3 occupants to safety. Another car with children inside was also swamped after the driver entered the floodwater, according to police.
Our biggest message to the community right now is to turn around, don't drown. Don't enter the water if you can't see the roadway. We don't want anybody else to put themselves in danger and become a victim.
A 4th colleague, Officer Shireen Abdelhamid, had stayed beside the terrified father and was able to share the news all had been safely rescued. As firefighters escorted the drenched and shivering occupants to a waiting ambulance, the frightened crying of the 2-year-old rose above the sound of the rushing water. It was a welcome sound to first responders. It meant he was alive. Everyone was alive.
Jackie Benson with that report. I mean, that was in the D.C. area, but that could have very well been the Charlotte area earlier this week with all that rain.
We saw a lot of rain, and it was one of those days where the rain was light, and then all of a sudden it came down pouring, and it was just this narrow path of just this heavy rain. And I mean, we saw flash flooding here, and it happened so fast, and I think people underestimate the power of water, and that's when you get yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah, water's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Just really think about it. Think about if you've ever lifted one of those 5-gallon like blue jugs that you put on that, and then multiply that by billions. And that pure power that is just coming towards you, and that's why it is the most deadly severe weather event of all of it. And as Majestic said, it comes fast. And that's why we always say, and I know that it sounds cliche, turn around, don't drown, but you see time and time again what happens where over half of the deaths from flooding are because of people driving vehicles through it. So believe it or not. Today, luckily, we're not talking about flooding, so I'll get off my soapbox here. Here's what we can expect. On and off rain expected really through the afternoon, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. Here's all that rain that was colliding that led to those 2 fatalities in the eastern side of the Carolinas. Meanwhile, for our Doppler radar right now, just a light rain that's hovering around Raleigh over into Greensboro. It's pretty persistent, sticking around, barely moving, but that's going to allow for a few spotty showers to head our way. I want to show you the difference from yesterday. Yesterday, look at this, widespread rain. It was hours of showers, but luckily we're simmering things down a little bit. Now, I do think that you're going to have some areas of showers, don't get me wrong, and you'll see those on and off throughout the afternoon. Heading into the evening, you have the slightest chance for a heavier shower. I think that's mainly to our southeast, so if you live in Anson, Chesterfield, over to Richmond County, better chance for all that jazz. And then our precipitation chances mainly around 20, so an isolated pop-up shower storm. You just saw what it looked like there. And I think we're much drier for your Friday and Saturday. Could see these start to come back up for your Sunday, and then scatter rain chances on Monday. As far as our highs go, today is the coolest over the next 10. So really excited that we're back to the 80s, even close to 90 degrees Majestic. We're almost back to August status.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to some sunshine after multiple days of just hardly seeing it. All right, let's get you out the door if you have places to be. I want to show you what I'm watching. This is I-77 at Atondo. You can tell that roads are jam-packed and traffic is moving a little slower than it typically should be, and it's because we are following a crash. You can see all of the red right here impacting against southbound lanes. The crash is at LaSalle Street, that's exit 12, but it's backed up to at least Statesville Ave, that's exit 13. So allow for a few extra minutes. Cars are still moving. They're just moving a little slower than they should be. We do have a stalled vehicle right here. It's on Brookshire Freeway at Beatty's Ford Road. All of this red, not a good sign. Stop and go traffic. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll give you another update here coming up in just a few.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome, everyone. Well, check it out. 77 degrees today still does not feel the way it should. That is actually the average high temperature for October 4th. And the days that we just recently had still feeling like mid to late October. Finally, by tomorrow, at least it feels more like September. Bus stop forecasts. Also, shout out to Salisbury going back to school today. You have temperatures that are going to be mainly hovering around the mid to the upper 60s, mid to the upper 70s, though, by the time the kids are getting home. Still an overcast sky with a chance for a passing shower, but things get better, my friends. We're anticipating a lot more sunshine by Friday, even some sunshine to end the day today, and then by the weekend, lower to the mid 80s, back to where we should be, around 90 the middle of next week. Let's see where traffic stands this morning with Majestic. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, take a look at your TV screen. We have another backup here. This is the latest thing. It's I-77. Now, this is coming in from Atondo Ave, but you can see cars are jam-packed. They're moving rather slowly. A few things to let you know about. We are following a crash right there. I-77 southbound lanes. The actual crash is at LaSalle Street, so that's exit 12, and it's going to be backed up at least 1 to 2 miles. So keep that in mind. Southbound lanes, cars can still get through it. It's just going to delay you about 5 to 10 minutes. In addition to that, a stalled vehicle on Brookshire Freeway at Beatties Ford Road, slowing people down. Have a good day and stay safe.
Good morning and thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Megan Bragg in for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We are following breaking news at this hour. In North Charlotte, at least one person dead after an early morning homicide. We know it happened on Reindeer Way Lane. That's right off Mount Holly, Huntersville Road and 45. We have a crew that's about to arrive on scene any moment now. We're going to check in with them in a live report coming your way just a few minutes right here on WCNC Plus. In the meantime, as schools get underway in districts across our area, local businesses are working to invest in student success.
They're doing that by donating school supplies and resources. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith joining us live in the studio. Bria, what are community leaders saying about this support?
Well, Megan, Ben, school leaders and business owners say investing in the success of a student's future is key to a strong community. It's why they continue to do what they do.
It's not programs that change students' lives. It's relationships.
Relationships fostered right in students' own neighborhoods.
It's a business need, right? So it's a business strategic thing to do to give back and to help these kids have what they need to excel and be successful and be the leaders of tomorrow here in Charlotte and drive us forward.
Communities and schools hosted the supply drive with the help of businesses in the South Park area.
These are so nice.
CEO of Communities and Schools, Manchaz Ari, says they make it easy for teachers and staff to get the supplies.
As long as they're connected to one of our CIS coordinators, our site coordinators, they will have an opportunity to get these resources. And so that's the beauty about our work. They don't have to come to us. We come to them in the schools and meet them where they are.
While supplies are helpful, the overall goal is more.
What we don't want to happen is a student to be burdened by issues that happen outside of the classroom, right? And so we provide tutoring support, we provide housing support, we provide whatever it is that the student needs so that they can get in the classroom and focus and succeed.
Now, Communities in Schools is staffed in 44 schools across CMS. And a reminder, we are still hosting our own school supply drive. You can scan this QR code or go to our website, WCNC.com/community, to donate money that will be used to buy school supplies. You have until Monday to do so.
And remind us, how do those supplies get to those students?
Yeah, Ben, well, I was fully expecting to see students there, but in fact, like Ari mentioned, they're meeting students where they are. So once students are in school, they will receive those supplies.
All right, good to know. Bria, thank you. Appreciate it. 7:32 right now, 4 days into the school year, and local South Carolina schools have reason to brag. They're paying teachers above the state average, and it means hiring new teachers is a lot easier, but retaining veterans is still a challenge.
Just before the school year started, Rock Hill School's roughly 100 new teachers gathered in this auditorium at Castle Heights Middle School.
You're going to have access to all of our departments that is under this division.
As the school year began, the district had 98% of teaching positions filled.
Not every district can say that. What are you guys doing right?
Well, I know that our human resources staff has been recruiting hard, but it's not just human resources, it takes everybody.
Word of mouth is helping all 4 districts in York County. Cost of living is generally lower than Charlotte, and pay is higher than much of South Carolina. At Rock Hill Schools, starting teachers are making $52,000, $7,000 above the state average. The leader of York District 1 says attracting new talent requires a combination of both pay and appreciation.
Do they feel supported in what they're doing, and that they have the tools? That's a big part of the equation. The other is that we have to be compensating in a way that makes us attractive.
After recruiting comes retaining, and that's proving to be harder. According to the National Education Association, the average teacher in South Carolina with some experience makes just under $61,000 a year, putting it 36th in the nation for pay. Longtime teachers often going elsewhere, switching careers, or retiring.
We're not going to recruit enough teachers to get out of the teacher shortage. They're just not coming out of college fast enough. We're going to have to keep our veteran teachers.
That means focusing on retention, making sure all these new teachers in the Castle Heights Auditorium stick around for years to come.
Those teachers get in the profession because they want to make a difference.
By the way, shout out to Rowan Salisbury Schools. Students head back this morning.
This morning?
Yep.
Wow.
A very exciting time, of course, and then after that, Gaston County, Cabarrus County, a bunch of them next week, and then CMS and Union County, Anson County as well, I think, coming up on that Monday, the 25th, I believe is the date. Yeah. All right, switching gears to forecast right now. And Chris, a far different morning. Granted, it's not a award-winning morning,
No.
but it's a lot better than the last couple.
Not even honorable mention morning, but it's better. It's not the bottom, because this is what it looks like. It's either foggy, overcast, or damp. So one of those 3, if not all of them, just depending where you are. Anson pretty much has the trifecta. And Monroe, you're just seeing some water droplets still left over from the lens. So we still have some patchy dense fog from place to place. And then here's the rain I'm talking about. That's mainly going to be impacting areas, I was really safe, from Kannapolis down to the east. So Wadesboro and parts of Richmond County seeing a lot more rain, and just barely a light rain shower with a little bit of that patchy fog and low hanging clouds over in Rowan County. So again, shout out heading back to school. This rain is also reducing visibilities. That's why Rockingham only has visibility less than 2 miles, down to about 4-mile visibility right around Rock Hill. So we technically do have some low-hanging clouds, but it's not really reaching the ground, so we don't have really fog as an issue. So for your Thursday, we're actually drying out, even though it doesn't really look like it. We'll still have a spotty rain chance, but we're not talking about widespread rain. By this weekend, sunshine will be with us. Still, at times, I think more clouds than sunshine, but it gets a whole lot brighter with a nice return to the lower to the mid-80s. And then next week, welcome back to summer, y'all, because you might have already forgot, we should be around 90 degrees at this point. Most of August should be 90 plus. And then we start to cool things down ever so slightly. 2 days from now, our average high actually says goodbye to the 90s and down to 89. Meanwhile, it'll be further out than that we're going to finally say hello to the upper 80s and the 90s once again. And as I've been joking around, it's been feeling more like October recently, but seriously, on Tuesday, 69 is actually the average high for October 30th, day before Halloween, putting that in perspective. Mid-October highs yesterday, and today at least we're early October, so that means it's more September-like, and then before you know it, we're going to be back to where we should be. So we're still rocking the lower to the mid-80s. Starting on Friday, we're going to be right on the cusp. Let's really call it Saturday heading through Tuesday is where we're going to have the lower to the mid-80s, and then after that, boom, jumping up to about that 90-degree point, and then we don't really see any big cool downs after that because even our 8 to 14-day outlook is keeping us either around the normal or slightly above, so get used to really a string of those 90-degree days, which is also kind of a mean trick. We were getting used to this weather where when you hit 101, 90 was actually feeling great. Well, now that we've been in the 70s, once we're back to 90, it's kind of back to square one for summer. And we're also looking at a foggier, really, morning overall for the mountains. That's why highs are either side of 70 degrees. Tough time trying to break up those clouds. The foothills, I think you have the best chance of seeing some sunshine today. The rest of us will be waiting patiently. Overall, an overcast day, but I think you will still have some bright spots, certainly a brighter sky by day's end. Still a chance for an on and off shower as well. High temperatures in the upper 70s, the warmest spot right around Chesterfield. Leagues Cup match, Charlotte officially having a start time, first whistle at 7:30, and the temperature's not really moving down too much because those clouds still going to be pretty thick, still rocking the lower 70s with a slight chance for an on and off shower, but a good portion staying dry. Panthers preseason, can't believe I'm showing this graphic. It's been a while since I've dusted it off. The Panthers versus the Browns for the first preseason game. It should be a good one, actually. I think you're going to see some sunshine to started off. Temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees, a slight real feel in the lower 80s, but really not a bad forecast whatsoever. So go Panthers, let's do this. Here's a closer look at the rain for today. It's very spotty, isolated showers on and off throughout the day. As I mentioned, best chance for sunshine right in here around Hickory. That's where the clouds really start to break. As for us, it depends. Some of us seeing those darker clouds for a majority of the day, really focusing on you around Wadesboro to Rockingham. Those clouds and those rain showers are going to be pretty persistent there. And then right around 5 to 7 o'clock, at that point, I'm optimistic that the sky is getting a little bit brighter. And if you see spots of blue, rejoice. By tomorrow morning, we will have some clouds starting to develop once again. That will also lead to some patchy, dense fog, but a lot more sunshine for your Friday heading into the weekend. So finally, we're breaking down that wedge, and that's why temperatures returning back to normal. Finally, what a weird weather pattern, Majestic, from the second hottest to one of the coldest starts in August history.
Totally bizarre. I think a lot of us are looking forward to a little change, though. It's been multiple days in a row of dreary conditions. All right, let's get a look at your traffic report as you're heading out the door because we got some problems. This is I-77 at Atondo. You can see cars are hardly moving very slowly, and we do have an accident to let you know about. Zooming it in, you can see that backup again impacting southbound lanes. The actual crash is at LaSalle Street. That's exit 12. So those backups are ongoing. Cars are still moving. They're just moving a little slower. Delays are at about 10 minutes right now. Otherwise, a stalled vehicle here, not cleared yet. It's on Brookshire and Beatty's Ford Road. Seeing a lot of red with that. And then right here, we have another stalled vehicle. It's at the entry ramp at the West Brookshire Freeway. That's going to be to get you onto I-77. So just be mindful of that. It's on the ramp. And then Plaza Midwood, good morning to you. We do have a minor wreck. It's on the Plaza and Margaret Ave, so more of a residential area tucked away on Margaret Ave. As we're looking at Albemarle Road this morning, this has been a busy spot and in not the best of ways. We have two back-to-back wrecks. This one's still not cleared, still seeing some backup. It's on Albemarle Road west at Central Ave, and then just off to the east of that one, another one, but this time as it intersects with Dooley Drive there. Still seeing mainly green though. And then want to let you know about this. This is out towards Lake Wiley. There's a crash on Highway 49 at Langston Drive. You can see some orange popping up, indicating that cars are moving rather slowly as they're heading out for the morning commute. But as of now, I-77, if you're coming in from York County, your area roadways are looking all right. We'll have another check on traffic coming up here in a bit. Ben.
All right, we're following some breaking news out of Uptown. We're going to get to that coming up in just 2 minutes. 7:43 right now on WCNC Plus, and now more breaking news into our newsroom. In the last 15 minutes, we're now learning that a man has died in custody at the Mecklenburg County Jail Uptown. The sheriff's office says 38-year-old Hispanic man was found unresponsive. Medic staff tried to revive him, but he was pronounced dead about 30 minutes later. According to officials, the man had been at the jail since 2023. In a statement, Sheriff Gary McFadden says in part that he's devastated and is extending sympathy to that man's family. Well, as you are packing your kids' lunch, they could be exposed to microplastic, and that's not the only place you're going to find them either.
Here's a look at the everyday impact those plastics can have on you and your kids' health. Toys, household appliances, cosmetics, and packaging can all have plastics in them. According to the Food and Drug Administration, microplastics and nanoplastics can be present in food, which is usually from environmental contamination where food is grown or raised.
Both microplastics and nanoplastics are the byproducts of plastic breakdown in the environment. You can think of nanoplastics as so small you can't see with your own eye.
Both plastics have been found in humans. According to Cleveland Clinic researcher Dr. Christopher Hine, not only can they be found in foods, but in water and air. Dr. Hine says these plastics can affect things like our hormones, metabolism, and may even contribute to weight gain. The best way to limit your family's exposure to these plastics? Use microwave-safe food containers. Use glass or metal storage containers, and be careful where you keep your water bottle.
If you have the ability to store your water, it's in plastic outside of direct sunlight in a cool place, then please do.
Now, Dr. Hine says you can't avoid all plastics, but more research needs to be done to fully understand the long-term impacts these plastics can have on our bodies.
7:45 right now, time to connect the dots. When we make the news make sense. Outcry from public health officials this morning after the U.S. pulled the plug on cutting-edge vaccine programs.
The U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has canceled 22 vaccine development contracts worth nearly $500 million. Let's connect the dots. All of these projects were developing vaccines targeting respiratory viruses like flu, COVID-19, and H5N1. Kennedy claims the science shows these vaccines don't work well for upper respiratory infections and may carry more risks than benefits. Now, funding is being redirected towards broader traditional vaccine platforms, like whole virus vaccines, that might be more effective, especially when viruses mutate. The decision has sparked strong criticism, with some public health experts calling it one of the most dangerous public health decisions in decades. Supporters of mRNA technology say it's safe, fast to develop, and was key to stopping the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is connecting the dots.
All right, keep it right here. We're back in just 2 minutes on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm loving the forecast because we are not talking about widespread rain. Now, will we see rain? Yes. Are some seeing rain right now? Absolutely yes. But we do not have that widespread flooding rain where tragically 2 people lost their lives on the eastern side of the Carolinas because all that rain that we saw pushed its way off towards the east. 66 is our starting point right now in Charlotte. Temperatures have not moved for over 4 hours because of that dense cloud cover. And it has been a wet start to the month, y'all. Through 6 days, we've had close to 5 inches of rain here at the airport. That's the 4th most to begin August in 146 years of record keeping. And some areas saw close to 8 inches of rain over the last several days. So yeah, it really puts in perspective. As far as our impacts, we don't really have any major ones going forward. We are starting to dry out. Really by the end of today, we'll have on and off shower chances today, and then warmer air returns after tomorrow and drier conditions through the weekend. So here are your rain chances. We can anticipate a isolated to a really, I would say, scattered rain chance Sunday heading into Monday. But other than that, you have hit or miss showers today, dry on Friday. I have an isolated chance on Saturday, but I think all in all, most are going to be on the drier end. So if you're trying to maybe get back in and squeeze in a pool day, I think you might have more clouds and sunshine and all, but it's not feeling too bad. So when the sun is out, that's going to feel great. As far as our rain chances go, you can expect really it's the eastern side, east of I-77, that has most of these little green dots here, but a passing shower across Charlotte is not out of the question. Now here's the optimism I have. This doesn't always come to fruition, but at this point, at this juncture, let me move my head here. Around 5 o'clock, we're starting to weaken the deck of clouds. That's going to allow for a much brighter sky, and then you might even see some spots of blue, and some of us, dare I say, partly cloudy skies. Say what? That's going to be up in the foothills and then drier through the overnight. By tomorrow, I think we have more sprinkles. It's going to be another overcast beginning. You're like, oh no. It's going to be that fog that's going to be all over the place. That also translates sometimes to a really low, thick layer of clouds. That will burn off through the morning, and then sunshine returns for your Friday. But check it out. We don't have as much activity for your Friday, so a chance for a spotty shower, but I think we're staying dry. And then once you get to your Saturday, you see a whole lot of nothing. So I think we're going to actually avoid the rain. So even though I have an isolated chance on Saturday, I might really remove it entirely. Nice mix of cloud and sunshine. Then heading into your Sunday, we start to see an uptick in the moisture and an uptick in our rain chances. Friday and Saturday, it starts to feel a little bit more uncomfortable. But as we get a warmer dew point, that's going to allow for some warmer lows. And then eventually we're back to muggy status come Sunday. So highs today at 77 will actually be the coolest high that we have over the next 10 days or so, and even beyond that. So this is not where we should be. Still feeling close to 80 degrees today. It's going to be a patient game trying to erode that cloud cover, but some of us will be rewarded with some sunshine. If not today, if you're not one of the lucky ones, you will see the sun by tomorrow at least. So great forecast for the Panthers game. We have the lower to the mid 80s both Saturday and Sunday. Same status on Monday and Tuesday. Monday, by the way, is the best chance for thunderstorms. Usual pop-up storm possible Tuesday, Wednesday into next Thursday. And speaking of Wednesday's the next time that we could be back to normal near 90. I know Majestic and I are both looking forward to this. Let's check out your morning commute.
Bring on that sunshine. All right, here we go. If you're heading out the door, this is I-77. It is still backed up. This is out there at Atondo Ave, a live camera shot. You can tell cars are moving. They're just kind of jam-packed together, moving a little slower than they typically should be. It's because we actually have an accident. It's on I-77 southbound. The accident is on LaSalle Street, so it's slowing you down. Delays are at about 10 minutes this morning, so keep that in mind. Allow for a little extra drive time as you're heading out the door. Stalled vehicles still not cleared. It's here on Brookshire Freeway at Beatties Ford Road. And then this one here that we've been talking about just to get onto I-77 southbound, that has been cleared. So good news there. If you're in Plaza Midwood, good morning to you. We do have an accident right here on the plaza at Margaret Ave, kind of a residential area right there, so not too concerned about that. And then off to the east, Albemarle Road has some issues this morning. West at Central Ave, we've been following this wreck for a while. Doesn't seem like it's cleared quite yet. And then another one still on Albemarle. This one is on Dooley Drive though. So lots going on as we're heading out the door. In addition to that, I want to take you out to Lake Wiley. If you typically take Highway 49, we do have a crash there. Inbound lanes, actually it's going to be southbound lanes. We're looking at that. It's on Langston Drive, so do keep that in mind. Lots going on. I-77 if you're coming in from York County. Good morning. Not seeing any significant delays at this time. Ben?
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Today, August 7th, is the day that we honor those who have received the Purple Heart. It's National Purple Heart Day. 1.8 million have received the Purple Heart, those who were injured or even died in combat. By the way, the Purple Heart Hall of Honor is in New Windsor, New York. That's not too far from West Point. Today, August 7th, a special day in the United States. We honor those who have received the Purple Heart. It's Purple Heart Day. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
And a reminder, folks, with the help of the Charlotte area Hyundai dealers, we are looking for our next hometown hero, and we need your help. We're recognizing an everyday hero, maybe a neighbor or a friend who really goes above and beyond in the community. Head on over to WCNC.com/hometown hero between now and August 17th. Nominate that special somebody. If they win, they could get a brand new 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown. That fog still hanging around out there. Another check of your forecast and traffic coming your way in just a few minutes right here on WCNC Plus.
All right, we're on the way up finally. We will have a chance for some spotty showers today, especially zones off towards the east, Anson, Richmond County, up to Rowan County, Stanley, just naming a few. You have the best chance for rain today. Highs in the mid to the upper 70s, even the lower 70s up in the mountains. And some of us will even see some sunshine. I know, what a nice treat. And it could feel as much as 80 degrees. Meanwhile, overnight tonight, lows dropping down to the mid to the upper 60s. So we start to see our lows and our highs trend up after today. As for tomorrow, we are going to wake up to some patchy dense fog, just depending where you are. And our tomorrow hourly forecast, slight chance maybe for an spotty shower, but most of us staying dry for the entirety of the day. High temperatures in the upper 70s, just barely touching that 80-degree point, but a nice mix of cloud and sunshine on the way. So get ready for a much warmer forecast, Majestic.
All right, I'm ready for it. Hey, if you're heading out the door, you can see this is a live camera shot. Traffic is kind of jam-packed. This is at Tondo Ave. You can see that stalled vehicle out on that bridge as well. A lot going on as you're heading out the door. Want to get you to the most important thing, though. We are still following this crash right here. It's on I-77 South at LaSalle Street, but it's backed up to I-85 Statesville Ave exit 13. You can see all the red right now. Delays are at about 5 to 10 minutes. In addition to that, we have the stalled vehicle on Brookshire Freeway and Beatties Ford Road. Stop and go traffic because of it.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. and we are following breaking news out of North Charlotte. At least one person dead after an early morning homicide happened on Reindeer Way Lane. That is off Mount Holly Huntersville Road and 485. We have a crew there on scene right now. We're going to check in with them coming up in a live report coming up in just a few moments. Thanks for joining us here at 8 a.m. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Megan Bragg. Happening today, the community saying final goodbyes to civil rights lawyer James Ferguson II. Ferguson died last month at the age of 82, but the cases he worked on have had a lasting impact on Charlotte and the country.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live in West Charlotte in front of a mural featuring Ferguson. He has more on his legacy and today's service. Richard.
Yeah, Ben, Megan, good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'll step out of the way. Let's just take a closer look at this mural by our street artist, Abel, who's done a lot of murals around the Charlotte area. This one to some of the local icons who've made history. Of course, James Ferguson right alongside his partner, Julius Chambers. Today, Ferguson will be remembered at a celebration of life for all he meant to this community and the country as well. Family and friends will gather to honor the civil rights leader, James E. Ferguson, or Fergie as he was known, II. He was a towering figure in American legal history. Ferguson was born in 1942 in Asheville, rising from humble beginnings to become a nationally respected attorney as well as civil rights advocate. He, along with Chambers and Stein, co-founded North Carolina's first integrated law firm and led the defense in the historic Wilmington 10 case, a fight that ultimately led to pardons some decades later. Ferguson's commitment to justice stretched far beyond the courtroom, from training black lawyers during apartheid in South Africa to championing restorative justice efforts here in North Carolina. He and his late wife, Barbara, shared nearly 56 years of marriage together with 3 children and a life rooted in social justice and community. Ferguson is remembered not only for his legal brilliance, but for his unwavering dedication to equality, dignity, and, of course, change.
He has impacted the legal profession not only in providing mentorship and training to younger lawyers in the community and across the world, really. The work, the substantive work that he has done has affected people who are going through the criminal justice system.
There are just countless areas in which I can tell you that the law firm and James Ferguson were instrumental in that positive change.
Yeah, everyone talk about the change that he helped create, the change that he helped be a part of. Folks in this community will not soon forget him. Again, his funeral service will begin today with a visitation at 11 o'clock at the Park Church, followed by the actual celebration of life taking place at noon. We're right here in West Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Richard, we know he was a beloved member of the community, pioneer. Are these services, can anybody go to these, or are they limited to just family, friends, people who knew him?
Yeah. No, it will be for the community. There will be a number of dignitaries, as you can well expect, who will also be at these services today. It's an open invitation for folks to come and honor the life of and the person who meant so much to so many people, not just in this community, but around the country.
In a city that has a lot of murals, that is definitely one of the better ones. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there in West Charlotte. Richard, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. 8:04 right now, turning back to your forecast. And Chris, it's not a pretty morning, but it's at least an improvement from yesterday and the day before.
Yeah, no, it's passable because we actually have some optimism. It's not like, when is this going to break? When are we going to see the sunshine? Well, we know now. Now, it's not going to be everyone today, but by tomorrow, there's going to be a good amount of sunshine, mixing clouds and sunshine. The blues come back. 65 degrees right now in Lincoln, 67 degrees in Charlotte. Not a pretty start. And it has been not just pretty wet, very wet to begin the month of August. Our stat of the morning. Close to 5 inches of rain has fallen over the last 6 days. That is the 4th wettest start to the month of August. Going forward, we're drying out. We're seeing warmer air return with those drier conditions, and our rainfall chances are all over the place. I think we have a good shot at staying dry on Friday. I want to add Saturday to that mix. Next time I show you this graphic, you're going to see a dry slot there. And then our futurecast also showing a little bit of rain this morning heading into the afternoon. Very spotty, so that's going to keep things pretty cloudy for most of the day. Best shot at sunshine, I think, is for you in the foothills, Morganton, Taylorsville, Hickory, naming a few. That's where we see the most significant break in the clouds. But this is a little optimism that even the Charlotte area, by the conclusion of the afternoon heading into the evening, we could see a brighter sky. By tomorrow morning, we have a little mist, a little drizzle, and some patchy dense fog from place to place. Also the sprinkles, not just talking about Larry walking around. That begins your Friday, and then by the time we get to the afternoon, barely a rain chance. These I don't think are going to verify anything, so we're staying dry. And the same thing goes for your Saturday. Now we'll start to see those isolated storm chances return really for your Sunday and beyond as we start to really juice up the atmosphere more. That's where that muggy air returns, and it's a better profile for those pop-up showers, the thunderstorms. For the mountains, either side of 70 is your high today. Fog lasting a little bit longer through that stretch as well. The mid to the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Notice how it's 80 in Morganton, but only around 77 for Charlotte. The reason why is I think that Morganton sees a lot more sunshine in the Charlotte area today, so that'll allow it to warm up. It's also technically part of something called the isothermal belt, just the way the topography is and everything there. It gets a little bit warmer through that stretch. 77 around Lancaster and about 78 right around Chesterfield. So our ghost pepper cast, yeah, the ghost peppers are in town, taking on the Dirty Birds from Charleston, West Virginia, not South Carolina. And temperatures will be in the mid 70s as the start of that game. Still a slight heat index overall, but should be a pretty good time. Maybe a damp seat, but other than that, you're just fine. I think you should be dry at that point as well. Our hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow, mix of cloud and sunshine, so you will see the sun, even though those clouds will be out and about. High temperatures right around 80 degrees, but most of the afternoon, we're dancing in the upper 70s. And I'm so excited to bring this back. The Panthers preseason. I know football's almost here. Maybe not everyone shares my excitement, but I'm super pumped. Taking on the Browns, so hopefully we can get that preseason win. Get to see the deeper part of the depth chart. Temperatures will start off in the upper 70s for that game around 7 o'clock. We're ending in the lower 70s, and everything should stay dry. By the weekend, we are expecting an even warmer forecast. High temperatures in the lower to the mid 80s. That's the range that we're sitting in for your Monday and Tuesday. Monday, by the way, is not only the best chance for rain, but the best chance for some thunderstorms as well. And before you know it, we're back to normal, finally, to around 90 degrees on Wednesday. How about that, Majestic? What's going on in your traffic world?
Good morning, everyone. Well, let's start with this. This is I-77 coming in from South Carolina. This is York County, of course. It is a much quieter morning, I think probably because the weather's a little bit better. You can see most of our area roadways are dry for us. We do have those overcast skies in place. This is where we are still seeing a slowdown, though. This is I-77 at Atondo Ave. You can tell that cars are still moving. They're just moving a little slower than they should be. It's because we still have that ongoing accident. Zooming it in, you can still see that stretch of red and orange indicating that cars are either moving slow or kind of at a stop and go pace. It's at I-77 at LaSalle Street. That's exit 12. It's backed up to I-85 Statesville Ave exit 13. So it's only about a 1 mile backup. Make sure you plan accordingly. Delays right now about 5 minutes. So making a little bit of an improvement. Stalled vehicle still has not been cleared, and look at that slowdown. A lot of orange here. It's on Brookshire Freeway at Beatties Ford Road, continuing to follow that. And then this one here, the right lane is currently blocked because of a stalled vehicle on Beatties Ford Road, southbound at French Street. So take it easy as you're heading out the door. We'll have another check on those roads next time I see you right back here in just a few. Ben.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, keep it right here. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Live now at 8:11 here on WCNC Plus. On top of breaking news right now in North Charlotte, at least one person dead after an early morning homicide. These are live pictures right now from the scene right there on Reindeer Way Lane. Now, that is right off Mount Holly, Huntersville Road and 485. If you think about where North Lake Mall is, this is on the other side of 485 and the subdivision right there. You can see police have it roped off as this is still very much an active investigation. We do have our crew there speaking to investigators, speaking to neighbors, trying to find out more about what happened this morning. But again, one person killed in a homicide there in this subdivision there in North Charlotte. We'll check in with our team throughout the morning right here on WCNC Plus. In the meantime, more breaking news right now in the last 30 minutes or so. We're now learning that a man has died in custody at the Mecklenburg County Jail. The sheriff's office says the 38-year-old Hispanic man was found unresponsive. Medic staff evidently tried to revive him, but he was pronounced dead about 30 minutes later. According to officials, he'd been in the jail since 2023. In a statement, the sheriff saying that he's devastated and is extending sympathy to that man's family.
Developing this morning, it's now official. The 1-cent sales tax for transit projects will be on the ballot in Mecklenburg County, despite some big names speaking against it, including former Mayor Jennifer Roberts. The County Board of Commissioners voted to send it through after more than 3 hours of public comment. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay spoke to people on both sides of the issue.
After years of discussion, some say the transit tax is a long time coming.
Congestion is high, we have frustrations, and we need solutions.
But Robert Dawkins with Action NC says it's far too rushed.
All of this came with caveats, and caveats never break in the way of poor people.
After Wednesday's meeting, Mecklenburg County voters will decide this November if they want to raise the sales tax 1 percentage point to expand the light rail and bus system, as well as improve roads. It would also create a new transit authority. But Dawkins is worried that there has not been enough education on the tax and people won't know enough about what they're voting for. It's a concern shared by 2 commissioners who voted against the ballot language last week. But those for the tax say that education can still be done.
It wasn't just thought of overnight.
Charlotte Regional Business Alliance President Robert McCutcheon says he's all for that process.
It's time to educate the voters on what is that plan and how does it work.
The next step is the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections. So this disagreement,
don't pay for your own displacement,
can now be settled at the ballot box. In Uptown, Julie Kay, WCNC Charlotte.
Turning now to put some other stories we're following this morning. United Airlines flights back in business after a technology issue that prompted ground stops at major airports across the country. We know as of this point exactly what caused it. We're not sure. But United says they're expecting delays. And we have an update actually from Charlotte Douglas. Trey in the control room. That information is not right here, but stand by with folks watching. This is streaming TV. This is what happens because I want to make sure that we get the latest information for our viewers. Stand by. As of right now, American, or rather United, is saying Charlotte Douglas is reporting 3 canceled United flights, just 1 delay. So it is having an impact here in Charlotte. And by the way, that glitch not connected to a reason why a number of passengers were stuck on a plane for hours after landing at Charlotte Douglas last night. We'll have more on that coming up in just 2 minutes. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Now to that breaking news in North Charlotte, where one person is dead after an early morning homicide.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards arrived on scene just moments ago. She joins us now live with the latest. All right, what are you hearing from investigators there, Destiny?
Yeah, we just learned that it was a woman who was found unconscious here in this townhome community in North Charlotte. She had a gunshot wound, they later found out, and she was rushed to the hospital where she died there. Now, we learned that this happened just after 5:15 this morning. Police were responding to a call about a fight here at Holly Ridge. That's the name of the townhome community, and they said when they arrived they found a woman unconscious and later realized she had been shot. It was medic that rushed her to the hospital and she was pronounced dead shortly after. Right now we just see a lot of caution tape in this area. Part of this neighborhood is blocked off while investigators look into what exactly caused this. Right now they don't have any information about a possible shooter or who else was possibly involved in this fight. They're still even trying to find a connection with maybe did this fight lead into a shooting, and that's what happened. So still a lot of pieces trying to be put together. We did speak to someone who is on the board of this townhome community. She said that this isn't something that she's expecting to happen here. It's usually normally a very quiet area, and it's just shocking and surprising to see this morning. She's familiar with some of the people that live in these group of townhomes, but didn't know if anything happened to the folks that she knew. Of course, though, we're learning a woman who was unconscious and then later discovered to be shot and died at the hospital. Of course, with any information, of course, police ask you to call their homicide unit, call Charlotte Crime Stoppers as well to give any information. But again, still trying to find a connection with what exactly happened here, and we'll be sure to keep you updated. Live here in North Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
So, Destiny, does it sound like, let me get this straight, neighbors heard that fight, heard that argument, and then they're the ones who called 911?
Yeah, we didn't hear from any neighbors that are in this area. We were walking up when we talked to the woman who's on the board of this townhome community. But in terms of, who called about this fight, still working to figure that out. Police still just have limited information since it's very early in the investigation. They couldn't specify, where in this group of townhomes the woman was found. They're still just keeping it very limited to just the 10200 block of Reindeer Way Lane. So still a lot of details that remain to be found out.
Well, 911 could prove to be important if that investigation gets underway. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us on what is a fluid situation there in North Charlotte. Destiny, thanks. We'll check back in with you in a bit.
And as we continue through the next few days, I'm happy to say we have some much better improvements. Where one of my one things that we do over on WCNC is one thing once per half hour. And one of them was today's going to be the coolest day over the next 7 to 10 days. So yeah, this is the bottom. Now, of course, it was cooler besides today. A couple days ago, we didn't even get out of the 60s. But just let you know that we are on the upward trajectory back to where we should be for this time of the year. If you look outside, words gorgeous, beautiful don't come to mind, but it will get better as we work our way through today. But this is the starting point, and this is where we've been. We've had back-to-back days of overcast conditions. Today isn't really different, but we will have a better chance for a brighter hope a little bit later on in the afternoon. But boy, do you have to be patient. Wind still out of the northeast. That's still supporting that cold air damming, that wedge as it's called. And it's really not until later on today that we have that sunnier hope. However, if you were to see the best sunshine chance, it's really from right around Morganton up to Hickory and around Taylorsville. That's where we have the best corridor of clearing going on today. But by the time you get to the maybe Ghost Peppers game around 6:30, you might have a brighter sky, some broken clouds at that point heading towards sunset. So let's go Ghost Peppers. Let's beat them Dirty Birds from Charleston, West Virginia. A few of those isolated showers will continue through this morning into the afternoon, but you're going to notice a zone right here around Albemarle, Wadesboro, Rockingham. That's where most of the rain is going to be today. So let's call it southeast of Charlotte down to Chesterfield County. Isolated shower will be on and off throughout the day. So here's the deal. Even though we could be clearing out some of that cloud cover, yeah, you're still going to have some darker clouds from a passing shower, but we do see some brighter hopes on the way. Even a much better chance for sunshine for your Friday, as temperatures are going to be warming up even more, closer to 80 degrees. Through the weekend, that's what you're looking at right now. Check this out here. Let me rewind real quick. This is your Saturday. Saturday at 8 o'clock. For the afternoon, you see some passing clouds. So yes, I think it could turn out to be more of a partly sunny afternoon, but we're going to have some decent clearing either side of noon. So I think that's really the sweet spot for a brighter forecast. As far as our extended forecast, we can expect 80 to 83 to 84. Temperatures on the rise, but check out the long term. We're eventually back to 89, 90 where we should be for this time of the season, but it pretty much took us half of August to get there. It's not until August 14th that we're forecasting back to the 90s. What a change after doing it 26 days in a row. Let's head over to Majestic. How's it looking so far?
Good morning, everyone. Hey, if you're heading out the door, well, thankfully we don't have a whole lot of rain slowing you down, so hopefully that'll be helpful. We haven't seen nearly as many accidents as to what we have seen over the last couple of days. I-77 looks all right if you're coming in from South Carolina. That's out there in York County, looking all right at this time. 823 if you are getting ready to head out. Still following this, though, this is I-77 at Atando Ave. That's where we do have that backup. Look at all those cars they're moving. This is just a still shot here. They're just moving a little slowly. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. As we zoom it in, you can see that backup here. The accident is at LaSalle Street, exit 12. It's backed up to I-85 at Statesville Ave, at least to that. Right now, still expecting delays about 5 minutes. So I'm seeing those cars that are still moving. They're just moving a little slowly. In addition, we are following this still. It's a stalled vehicle on Brookshire Freeway at Beatties Ford Road. You can see all of that red. Never good to see red. That's just indicating stop and go traffic. Just to the south of it, another stalled vehicle. This one here, we have a right lane that's blocked because of it. It's on Beatties Ford Road, southbound at French Street. So that's what I'm watching for now. We'll give you an update coming up here in just a few.
All right, live pictures right now over a foggy Uptown. We're back in just a few minutes right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everybody. We have some rain still on the map, so we're not done yet. Some spotty showers, especially the further east you go. A lot of that is drizzle and some mist. And you see some water droplets on the lens even as far east as right around Monroe. 66 degrees here in Hickory, Monroe. Your temperature's at 66 as well, up to 67 around Charlotte. But because of that cloud cover, we don't see a lot of relief right away. And we're also dealing with an overcast sky most of the afternoon. But we will see some bright spots, especially further off towards the west. A spotty shower on and off throughout the day, and that could jog into the evening. And then clouds breaking up for a brighter day by tomorrow. Tomorrow we're back to around 80 degrees, lower to the mid 80s Saturday and Sunday. And beyond that, we eventually and finally get back to where we should be, either side of 90 degrees, middle of next week and beyond. Let's see what's happening beyond our roads with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. If you're getting ready to head out the door, here's a quick check at some of those drive times. About 30 minutes if you're coming in from Belmont, and just under 40 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Live camera shot. This is I-77 at Atando Ave. You can see those southbound lanes are moving slowly. They're not stopped. It's not blocked. People are just moving slowly because there's still an ongoing crash. You can see that back up there. All of that red indicating stop and go traffic. The actual crash is I-77 south at LaSalle Street. Backed up to I-85 at Statesville Ave. Again, cars can still get past. It's just moving rather slowly. Stalled vehicle right here on Brookshire Freeway at Beatties Ford Road. Take it easy and hope you have a great Thursday.
Time now 8:30. Thank you so much for joining us live on WCNC Plus. I'm Megan Bragan for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Back to the breaking news we've been following over the last hour here on WCNC Plus out of North Charlotte. A woman is dead after an early morning homicide. This is a live look right now of the scene from Reindeer Way Lane. That's right off Mount Holly Huntersville Road and 485. Neighbors reportedly heard some sort of fight this morning around 5 a.m. After medic arrived, they found the victim with a gunshot wound. Destiny Richards still talking to investigators there and neighbors. As of right now, the latest update we have from Destiny about 10 minutes ago is there's no update on if police are looking for a suspect connected to this case. We'll continue to ask those questions, though. Now to more breaking news into our newsroom. Over the last hour, we are now learning that a man has died in the Mecklenburg County Jail. The sheriff's office says the 38-year-old Hispanic man was unresponsive when he was found. Medic tried to revive the guy, but he was pronounced dead about 30 minutes later. Though according to jail officials, the man's been there behind bars since 2023. In a statement, the sheriff says that he's devastated and he's extending his sympathy to that man's family. Well, as the school year gets underway, local businesses are working to invest in student success.
They're doing that by donating school supplies and resources. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith joining us live in the studio. Bria, what are community leaders saying about the support?
Megan, school leaders and business owners say investing in the success of a student's future is key to a strong community. It's why they continue to do what they do.
It's not programs that change students' lives, it's relationships.
Relationships fostered right in students' own neighborhoods.
It's a business need, right? So it's a business strategic thing to do to give back and to help these kids have what they need to excel and be successful and be the leaders of tomorrow here in Charlotte and drive us forward.
Communities and Schools hosted the supply drive with the help of businesses in the South Park area.
These are so nice.
CEO of Communities and Schools, Manchaz Ari, says they make it easy for teachers and staff to get the supplies.
As long as they're connected to one of our CIS coordinators, our site coordinators, they will have an opportunity to get these resources. And so that's the beauty about our work. They don't have to come to us. We come to them in the schools and meet them where they are.
While supplies are helpful, the overall goal is more.
What we don't want to happen is a student to be burdened by issues that happen outside of the classroom, right? And so we provide tutoring support, we provide housing support, we provide whatever it is that the student needs so that they can get in the classroom and focus and succeed.
Communities and Schools is staffed in 44 schools across CMS. And a reminder, we are still hosting our own school supply drive. You can scan this QR code or go to our website, WCNC.com/community, to donate money that will be used to buy school supplies. You have until Monday to do so.
Now, Bria, do you know what the most asked for school supply was?
Yeah, so there weren't very specific, but CIS did ask teachers and staff, what those things are that students were needing the most, and they were able to supply them. So you were able to see teachers and staff picking those up and putting those in their carts.
All right, good to see.
Back to you.
Bria, thank you. 8:33 right now. 4 days into the school year, and local South Carolina schools have reason to brag. They're paying teachers above the state average. That means hiring new teachers is easier. Retaining veterans, though, still a challenge.
Just before the school year started, Rock Hill School's roughly 100 new teachers gathered in this auditorium at Castle Heights Middle School.
You're going to have access to all of our departments that is under this division.
As the school year began, the district had 98% of teaching positions filled.
Not every district can say that. What are you guys doing right?
Well, I know that our human resources staff has been recruiting hard, but it's not just human resources, it takes everybody.
Word of mouth is helping all 4 districts in York County. Cost of living is generally lower than Charlotte, and pay is higher than much of South Carolina. At Rock Hill Schools, starting teachers are making $52,000, $7,000 above the state average. The leader of York District 1 says attracting new talent requires a combination of both pay and appreciation.
Do they feel supported in what they're doing, and that they have the tools? That's a big part of the equation. The other is that we have to be compensating in a way that makes us attractive.
After recruiting comes retaining, and that's proving to be harder. According to the National Education Association, the average teacher in South Carolina with some experience makes just under $61,000 a year, putting it 36th in the nation for pay. Longtime teachers often going elsewhere, switching careers, or retiring.
We're not going to recruit enough teachers to get out of the teacher shortage. They're just not coming out of college fast enough. We're going to have to keep our veteran teachers.
That means focusing on retention, making sure all these new teachers in the Castle Heights Auditorium stick around for years to come.
Those teachers get in the profession because they want to make a difference.
And shout out to all those teachers out there, specifically the ones at Rowan Salisbury Schools, because I know students heading back this morning.
Welcome back.
Exciting time for them.
Yes.
A lot of schools start back the next week and the weeks to come.
Wow, crazy. And it kind of feels like school weather because we're feeling a lot like fall, Chris.
No, it sure is. We're dealing with a decent amount of cloud cover around Charlotte, but look at this. It does exist on top of Beach Mountain, so you have to go way up there. We have a beautiful sky. Now, if you look really closely off yonder, there's that cloud cover. So oftentimes if you go high enough up, you can be above the clouds, literally, but not everyone's seeing that. And I was seeing a glint of sunshine, but now it's complete darkness. I'm just joking, the camera dropped off. But other areas around the Charlotte area, it's cloudy over Lake Norman, cloudy in Monroe, cloudy in Dallas, cloudy in Anson County. It's actually really wet here as well with some active rain. So yeah, it just depends where you are. But since we see that sunshine up in the mountains, that is hopeful that maybe we could see some a little bit later on. So I would say about half of us are going to see some spots of blue sky or good chunks of it today, while the other half, especially further east you go of Charlotte, still stuck on the overcast skies for one more day. We'll have some lingering fog here up in the mountains, either side of of 70 degrees. And we're close to 80 degrees around Morganton. The reason why Morganton will be dealing with more sunshine than what Charlotte will have, or it will pop a little bit earlier. Upper 70s through this stretch. That's why Lenore and Morganton could be actually warmer than what we have around the greater Charlotte area. 77 for Lincoln, Gastonia, Charlotte, Concord, and Albemarle, and then even up to 77, 78 in certain spots of Chesterfield County, even with all that rain. Here's the rain that we're currently looking at. Not a lot has happened here, but just enough in the upper levels. Some rain also starting to work its way into Rowan County, as we just gave a shout out, kids back to school. But this band of rain eventually is going to weaken as it gets a little bit close to us, but still a chance for a spotty sprinkle and a light rain shower on and off throughout this morning heading in the afternoon. So that's also adding some thicker clouds. As far as our visibilities, they have really vastly improved. You are seeing some drops to about 3 miles. But other than that, that's it. We are getting rid of these lower clouds, though, by the end of today, or at least this evening. And that's going to lead to a much brighter sky by tomorrow and for this weekend. But for example, we're looking through our WCNC camera over at Bank of America Stadium and some of the surrounding areas. You still can't really see that well. It's better than yesterday, but we will have much better visibilities going forward. Tomorrow, I think, could be foggy again, but the afternoons are getting better. As far as where we should be, you might have forgot, we should be around 90 degrees. Now, 2 days from now, that average goes down to 89, and 10 days after that goes down to 88, where really it's the back end of August that mainly averages in the upper 80s. But it's October that averages anywhere from 68 to about 78 degrees, whereas our high of 77 is better, but it's still feeling like early October. But I'm happy to say things are going to trend in a much better direction. Even the long range 8 to 14 day outlook is showing about a 50-50 shot that we're going to be average to above average. And I was just trying to show you the 10-day forecast. There it is. This is the bottom, folks. We're on the way up, lower to the mid 80s, really starting tomorrow through the weekend, and then the upper 80s to around 90, aka back to normal as early as Wednesday. So it's been a long time coming. What a wacky weather pattern, but Majestic, that's why we're here with all the twists and turns, and you also are here as well for any twists and turns in the traffic.
Exactly, we're always on it, that's for sure. Traffic this morning has been much better compared to the last few mornings, and I think it's probably because we don't have all that rain making those area roadways slick for you. Big picture perspective, you can see we do have our typical backups building. I-77, 485, 85. Here we go. A few things I want to let you know about. Here's I-77. We've been talking about this for a while now. This is at Atondo. You can see traffic is moving a little bit better, so I think it's starting to actually clear, but they haven't officially cleared it yet. So again, this is what we've been following. All of that red indicating slow stop and go traffic. The accident happened at LaSalle Street. That's exit 12. It's backed up about a mile out there towards I-85 Statesville Ave. That's exit 13. Just to the south of that, we have a stalled vehicle still. This is on Brookshire Freeway at Beatty's Ford Road. Not seeing a lot of slowdowns there. And then another one here. The right lane is blocked because of this stalled vehicle. Beatty's Ford Road southbound at French Street. As we zoom it on out, want to give you some perspective. I-77, if you're coming in from Rock Hill or Fort Mill, not seeing anything too majorly concerning. But again, this accident right here, it's on Atmore Street and Donna Ave, so kind of more of a residential area, but it's out towards East Sugar Creek Road. Keep that in mind. We'll have another check on the roads coming up here in a few.
All right, thanks so much, Majestic, and we'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
8:43 right now here on WCNC Plus. And developing this morning, world markets reacting to President Trump's tariffs that are now in effect.
A live look at U.S. futures as markets worldwide react to the tariffs, like we were saying. Right now, you're looking at the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, all in the green with about an hour before markets open. NBC's Jay Gray reports.
Apple is announcing that it will
in an Oval Office meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook, touting the company's promise to invest $600 billion in U.S. manufacturing over the next 4 years. President Trump announces a new tariff on semiconductors and chips with one caveat.
So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff.
Specifics, including when the tech tariffs will take place and exactly how U.S. manufacturers will qualify for an exemption, still aren't clear. What is clear, though, is the president's frustration with India.
They're fueling the war machine, and if they're going to do that, then I'm not going to be happy.
Raising the country's tariff from 25% to 50% just hours before the plan goes online as a punishment for buying oil from Russia. Announcing that decision, as Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow ahead of a Friday deadline for increased U.S. economic sanctions if there's no ceasefire with Ukraine. The president on social media calling the meeting highly productive and writing, "Great progress was made," suggesting that there may now be a path to face-to-face meetings with Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky.
That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
A White House official telling NBC News there's no set plan or location, but that the meeting could take place as early as next week. Now, it's important to remember there have been previous rumors of a summit, even the president acknowledging how tenuous this situation is, saying, quote, "I've been disappointed before with this one." Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
All right, 8:45 right now on WCNC Plus. We're back in 2 minutes.
We're right in the middle of tick season, and researchers at Johns Hopkins are studying the critters and providing tips on how to reduce the risk of bites amid the national surge. Researchers even want you to mail them the ticks if you find one. Brianna Ross reports.
Inside Dr. Douglas Norris's lab at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, you'll see a healthy stack of envelopes. not with letters inside, but with ticks.
They're creepy for most people, but they transmit a lot of pathogens.
Norris started accepting ticks in the mail last year. You can send him any tick you find. It's part of a partnership between the Johns Hopkins Lyme and Tick-Borne Diseases Research and Education Institute and the Maryland Department of Health to help identify ticks and learn more about the diseases they carry.
The big one would be black-legged ticks. These are commonly associated with Lyme disease, and that's the biggest, by far the biggest, tick-borne disease here in Maryland as well as nationally. And then the Lone Star ticks, which are pretty common here in eastern Maryland and the Eastern Shore, and that's associated with alpha-gal allergy, so the red meat allergy, which many people are very worried about. It's an American dog tick.
It comes as we're seeing an uptick in tick bites, leading to emergency room visits. In May, the CDC reported tick bites made up 134 of every 100,000 visits, the highest rate since 2019.
Ticks that bite humans tend to be pretty small. And so is it just more concern? So they go to the ER rather than just discarding the tick and not worrying about it.
But Norris says ticks are something to worry about because they can make you very sick.
The best prevention is to not get bitten by ticks. So to find them early, do tick checks if you're out and about in any environment that has grass or vegetation.
I mean, just last week, Justin Timberlake came out and said he had Lyme disease, which is created from a tick.
Dang.
They're kind of creepy crawly. By the way, the man in the piece, the expert, you heard him mention a number of ticks that are found here in North Carolina. In addition to that, there's also the American dog tick and the brown dog tick, also common here in the Tar Heel State.
Is that because they get on dogs a lot?
Yeah, I think so. I was just saying because I was from New England and we get a bunch of ticks up there. And one given season, I picked 100 ticks off my dog. Now I want to say they're attached just because they're everywhere. And another thing to mention too, because I've personally had this, that if you ever get a tick bite and there's a ring that forms around it, that's the first sign of Lyme disease. And if you don't catch it really beyond that small little window of a couple of days, that's where it could really start to settle in. So just letting you know, it's not a good situation that one bite can completely change the rest of your life. But I do have some actually tick data. I derived this right from Climate Central. So Climate Central is one of the best research sites and organizations. They'll show you how the climate change is affecting everything. And warming allows more ticks and it allows them to develop faster and emerge earlier. Where if you look across the United States, it's either a 1 to 5 degree difference as far as our average temperatures from January to May. And that's really where they start to evolve and start to come up. Across the Carolinas, we're about 2 to 3 degrees warmer. So that does make all the difference in some of the more tick prone areas, such as the Northeast and around Pennsylvania, where they're up as much as 4 degrees. So that is substantial. Another thing to mention is that ticks love heat and humidity. So the more that you have that, and if you introduce that earlier in the season, as we continue to do, that's going to allow them to flourish and thrive. And that also allows for the expansion of Lyme disease. So sadly, we are dealing with more tick-like forecast where we're expecting a much higher level as far as that humidity goes, feeling even very humid. So the ticks are going to like that, sadly. And they also like the warmer temperatures, even though they're already thriving and surviving at this point anyways. Over the last 7 days, it really has been an adventure. We had back-to-back days at 93, and then we fell down to the 70s, even one day at 69. We were at 81 on Monday, if you remember, and then today we're back at 87. So it does look like we're going to have a much warmer forecast after today, and our rain chances are also coming down. We're not seeing likely to numerous to widespread chances. Instead, it's just a isolated chance for rain today. Not much tomorrow. I think you barely have anything on Saturday as well. They start to come back up on Monday, and our temperatures are just straight upward trajectory after today, hovering in the lower to the mid 80s through the weekend and early next week. But where we should be, about 89, 90 for this time of year, and even mid-August, we're there just in time for the 13th and 14th of August and going forward. Also want to mention that our lows are going to be a little bit milder as well, back to the lower 70s, pretty much where we've been most of the summer at 70 plus. I do want to mention the tropics real quick. So we have a slight chance for development just northeast of the Carolinas and the mid-Atlantic states. This chance looks like it's fleeting a little bit, but it looks like our best chance for tropical storm Erin is going to be in that area of orange where it's going to bend, and it's almost looked like it's going to be heading towards the New England, New York area, but I do think it's going to curve back out to sea. Really interesting that you're going to have almost 3 clusters of system in the northern Atlantic. So something that we're definitely watching a little bit closer. You can actually see it here on our futurecast, seeing one signs of some activity and a disturbance off towards the north. That would be that one wave that's off the Carolinas, but it's really going to be down here that we're going to see potentially our next wave that starts to develop. But the good news is all of these systems are right in the middle of the Atlantic, so technically they are fish storms. So as I mentioned, the next name up is Erin, and then we also have Fernan, and then Gabrielle after that, and then Umberto. So we're now heading into the heart of hurricane season. Officially, the peak is September 10th, so we're not quite there, but really expect a lot more of these waves starting to form pretty much each and every week, really increasing throughout the month of August. Let's get over to Majestic to see how our morning commute's looking. You said this earlier, it's just so much better without all that rain.
Oh, I agree. Not only for people out driving, but it just looks a little bit better, and it's not causing so many big accidents. Still some delays, are typical delays though. Here's a big picture perspective of everything that's going on. You can still see pockets of red indicating those slowdowns. Here's what we're watching. You can see this is I-77 out towards Gilead exit. So few things you need to know as you're heading out if you do have some place to be. Want to take you up here because this is the wreck that we've been talking about for a while now on I-77 southbound right around Atondo. It is clearing. It hasn't officially cleared yet, so you might be delayed just a couple of minutes, but I think we're making some great progress there. New accident though, unfortunately. This on I-77 south at Gilead Road. That's exit 23 and it's backed up to exit 25. So keep this in mind. Southbound lanes being impacted this morning on I-77. And again, this is what we're continuing to watch as we're heading out the door. As we're heading to the south, Independence inbound, starting to see some of those slowdowns build. You can see it shaded in yellow and orange there. And then the stalled vehicle not really making some big problems out there on Brookshire Freeway and Beatties Ford Road.
We're going to take a quick break, but keep it here on WCNC Plus at 8:56. We'll have a quick update on weather and traffic. You'll see us stream those headlines right here. And then our own Nick Sturdivant is actually in. We'll take over our live from our new Impact Studio, News Impact Studio. He'll have the live breaking events. It's Nick Sturdivant there as they happen from our area and across the nation right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. We are just waiting on sunshine, and eventually we will have a better chance of seeing it. So let's just focus in on the 7-day forecast. You notice that today is lower than all the other days, and it is also going to come with some on and off shower activity. But today also starting off overcast. I think we'll get a little bit brighter through the afternoon. Some of us even seeing some blue sky, even seeing signs of it in the mountains right now. Panthers game looks to be A-OK, avoiding the rain, high right around 80 degrees. Then we have the lower to the mid 80s through this coming weekend. To start Start next week, better chance for thunderstorms on Monday and close to 90 on Wednesday. Majestic, take it away.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. Hey, if you're heading out the door this morning, it may be overcast, but at least it's not raining like the last few mornings. I-77 out there, this is a Tondo Ave. It's flowing just fine, not seeing any major concerns, so some good news for you. Still following this, it has not officially been cleared, but I am seeing some improvements on my cameras. 2 lanes may still be a little disrupted because of a crash on I-77, southbound, specifically out of Tando, and then again, I-77 at Gilead backed up to exit 25. Have a great day.